Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Cali Culture Podcast, episode 15, featuring returning guest and Cali Culture Podcast producer, Jason Wilson. Jason returns to continue our discussion from last week regarding Colombian culture, SPIRITLINC, and we're also going to discuss why so many people are leaving America and traveling abroad, specifically Colombia. So without further ado, episode 15, relax, listen, and enjoy.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Cali Culture Podcast. This is the only podcast on the airways that talks everything and anything about Cali, Colombia. I'm your host, Jeremy Preston. We have another great show for you today. Actually, we have a returning guest from last week. Oh, and by the way, he happens to be the producer of the Cali Culture Podcast. None other than Jason Wilson. Jason, welcome back for part 2 of our discussion.
Yes, sir. Glad to be here, man. Thank you so much for the invitation, man.
Absolutely. Let's just get started with, I think the viewers and audience would love to hear your passion for being a podcast manager and producer. And specifically, since we are on the Cali Culture Podcast show, what's your inspiration for being a podcast producer? And then also, how do you like producing the Cali Culture Podcast?
Oh, man. Interesting story, man. This is great. Okay, so my biggest fear was public speaking. I mean, all the way back when I was in school, man, I mean, it was a nightmare to get up in front of a group of my students, and well, not students, but classmates during that time, and do a presentation of any kind. And I'll never forget, man, one of my good friends, we had to do like this TV commercial. This is where this comes from. We had to do this TV commercial in class, and I did my commercial, right? He just burst out laughing. And ever since that event, I had this fear of public speaking. And it wasn't until the pandemic that I actually started to get over this, man. And I asked the Lord when I was quarantined in Bogota, I told this story. I said, okay, what would you have me do while I'm quarantined here in Bogota? And the first thought that came to mind was start a podcast. And brother, I knew the thought, the idea came from God. It wasn't my idea. I mean, I wasn't going to get on camera and do anything like what I had to do before. So that's where the passion actually started. And it was just a matter of repetition, to be honest with you, getting on camera. And through me starting my own show, I just got really, really interested about everything that happens behind the scenes. And really, to be honest with you, the only platform that existed during that time was Zoom. So I started out with Zoom, and all of the shows that I started to produce from my own show were on Zoom. Of course, now, we have this wonderful platform that we use. It's a completely different thing, which gives me a lot of capability to design scenes and things like that. But, this is night and day compared to Zoom. So I encourage anybody that has their own business. If you're selling anything, you need a podcast show. I mean, I can't see any better way to reach a larger audience for whatever service that you offer or product that you want to sell. A podcast show is the way to go. And, I love what I do, man. I love your show. I told you in the very beginning, what you want to do in Cali, where you're located, man, is needed. I think that there's a tremendous amount of potential for travel, for tourism, and different kinds of events that don't exist that you want to offer there. Everything from MMA events, boxing aerobics classes, and other things that you're offering, man. I think it's a wonderful thing, especially when it comes to the reputation that Cali is trying to get over, that, everyone thinks about when they think about going to Cali. It's everything that happened back in the late 70s, 80s with Pablo Escobar and all of that. Same thing in Bogota, too. Yeah. But yeah, what you're doing is great, man.
And I really appreciate the feedback. And it's also good to hear, to share that vulnerability that, I had this problem of public speaking. There's so many people. Somebody is actually probably listening right now, Jason, that's saying, I want to do a podcast. I would love to be a part of
Mhm.
that. But they have that fear of being on camera, and the sort of just the timidness of what do people think about me. And
Right.
actually, I guess I would say I wasn't quite, I would say, completely afraid of public speaking, but I always was critical of myself, of my voice. Um, do I sound, do I have a thick Southern accent being from Mississippi? Um, can I enunciate clearly, guys? You can tell I have a little bit of a lisp. How does that sound? And
Mm.
finally, as I got older, just talking to my peers and coaches and people that were older than myself, they were like, you need to stop thinking about what people think about you.
Yeah.
And when I really took that to heart, that's exactly what I started doing. And I was able to, um, forget the things that, okay, the things I might sound like or whatever, and just roll with it. Just do what I do. Just be able to present as if, we're in the same room right now and talking, and just to be able to communicate without that fear of what somebody else thinks about you. So I would say
Mm.
anybody that's thinking along those lines, and again, I do agree with you, Jason. A podcast is the way to go. If your dream and your goal is to get into podcasting and start a podcast show, as Nike says, just do it. Just do it. You want to add
Absolutely.
anything to that, Jason?
Well, I think what stops people from doing anything in life is fear,
Mm-hmm.
right? And when it comes to having your own business, if you're not seeing the kinds of results that you want, of course, in the very beginning, it's hard. But dedicating yourself to getting out in public and talking about what you do on a day-to-day basis, it doesn't even have to be day to day. It can be once a week that you have your show, which is enough. And in your case, that's what you've got. You have your show every Saturday, and you're reaching people not only in Cali, but in the United States and everywhere else in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, just do it. I tell you, if you had asked me a year ago would I've had a podcast show about Cali, Colombia, I would have thought anybody that would have told me that I would have thought they were crazy. It just goes to show in life, sometimes you step behind those boundaries, those limitations, that square box that you're in, you step out of that box, and you think open with an open mind. And with God's help, you literally can do anything.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I want to talk about Colombia in general. We really spoke heavy last week, Jason, on the fact that there's a lot of issues in Medellin, a lot of
Mm.
issues with tourism in Cartagena as well. And we also spoke of the fact that the whole passport bro movement has tainted tourism in Colombia. But what I want to talk about in this episode specifically is the reason why mature tourists should still come to Colombia. There's
Mm.
so many different reasons why. Let's forget all the passport bro negative tourism, but from a positive tourism standpoint, Jason, can you just give the audience some really positive reasons why they should definitely, without hesitation, travel to Colombia?
You know what? When it comes to the economy and all the challenges that Americans are facing right now with just paying the rent, man, I saw a video today, man, on Instagram. This girl was literally in tears, and she's Gen Z,
Hmm.
and the whole caption of the video was that so many Gen Zers are suffering in the United States right now just to pay rent. And, it's causing all of these kinds of mental health issues and depression, anxiety. This didn't exist, when I first got here. So I think one of the first reasons you want to come to Colombia is that, it's so much cheaper just to live. And, this is one of the happiest countries in the world, right? You come here and you experience things like on a Friday afternoon. It could be 2:00 in the afternoon, 3:00 in the afternoon. Everybody will go to the corner store and pop open a beer. And, it's 3:00. Are they even off from work yet? Man, they're just interested in enjoying life in general, which I think that a lot of people in the States right now, they can't even enjoy life.
Right.
So when it comes to mental health and all the challenges that they're facing over there, when you get here, there's a tremendous sense of peace that you have that you can't buy that.
Right.
So that's one of the first reasons that I recommend Colombia for. But there's plenty of other reasons though when it comes to tourism. The interesting thing about Colombia is you can go in any cardinal point in Colombia and be in a completely different culture, weather, landscape, and that part is beautiful about this country too.
That's right.
Being African American like us, we don't have the perception that wow, there's black people in Colombia. I mean, you know what I mean? We don't realize that when we're looking at commercials or any kind of advertisement about Colombia, we don't see black people. So when we come here to Colombia and you go to maybe Cartagena or Cali, where you're at, Buenaventura, these cities and parts of Colombia, man, they're majority black people,
right?
Which is really surprising. And if you go there to visit, people are so nice, man, and just invite you into their homes.
Yeah.
Come eat with us, and the food, man, is delicious.
Let's just touch on that for
yeah.
Colombia, for whatever reason, well, actually, I know the reason. Colombia gets a bad rap for the food being bland, and certainly in certain parts of Colombia, when I went to Bogota, I have to be honest with you, the food did seem bland. But a lot of people don't know the fact that there is a Afro-Colombian Pacific culture here in Colombia. You mentioned Buenaventura. Some of the best food you can possibly get is savored right around spices and seasoning. So I would say a lot of people think they might know Colombia. You really probably don't. You don't know the full aspect, the full diaspora of Colombia. You have Colombians that are tall and with blue eyes. You have Colombians that look my skin color, your skin color. You have Colombians that are short, that are tall. You have to be here to be able to see the diversity in Colombia, the food diversity, the biodiversity, the people diversity. And those are the things that you want to see. You don't want to just look at one. You don't want to look at the movie Narcos and think you've seen Colombia. Or the show Narcos, and think you've seen Colombia. Because you've only seen one exaggerated aspect of Colombia. So you bring about a good point, Jason. That is so right. And that's something that, my first time coming to Colombia in six and a half years ago, I had that mental perception, that mental inaccuracy that Colombians look this way, the food was this way, until I came to Cali, and I'm like, oh, this is a large Afro-Colombian population.
Right.
So I 100% agree with you. Now, one of the things I wanted you to touch on is the fact that there is a mental health crisis in the U.S. right now. It's something that I like, the fact that what you're doing with Circle of Friends, that you're bringing awareness to the limelight, to the forefront, that you have a problem globally with mental health, but specifically because I'm still in the United States, or at least I spend a lot of my time in the United States, I am seeing it with Gen Z, with Gen X. I'm just seeing it run rampant. My question to you is mental health that much of a significant issue in Colombia? And this is obviously, I'm asking you this question because you've been
Hmm.
here in Colombia for 24 years. Do
Yeah.
you see mental health the same level of severity as the United States?
No, no. In the United States, I think it's much worse, man.
Yeah.
I've had the opportunity to see what happens in the States and Colombia at the same time. And the way that people deal with just, life challenges in general here is completely different than the way we deal with things over there.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I saw this firsthand with my mother, as I mentioned on the first part of our interview, man, that, I got to say that I have to go all the way back to the year 1998 when she was diagnosed with bipolar depression. And I didn't even know what that was back then. I was like, bipolar depression? What is that?
Mm-hmm.
That was the first time that I ever heard of it. And so, man, ever since 98, I've had a bird's eye view of how that can affect somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And, they don't necessarily have to have that in their family.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about generational curses and things like that affect family members over generations.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that was the first time that ever happened to somebody in my family.
Wow.
So it doesn't necessarily have to be that. It can just be a traumatic event,
Mm-hmm.
which I think, in the States, people have a lot more exposure to traumatic events in their lives.
Yeah.
And one huge difference that I want to bring up real quick is that, we hear these mass murders in the
Mm-hmm.
States happen all the time. You could be at a mall, you could be at a movie theater
Mm-hmm.
checking out Batman. I went home in 2011, and I'll never forget Batman. The third part
Mm-hmm.
of Batman came out in 2012, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And like that same week, some guy opened up fire in the middle of the movie theater. They thought it was part of the actual presentation of the movie.
I do remember that now. Yes.
You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
So when it comes to mass murders, shootings, kidnappings, we just don't hear those kinds of traumatic events happening here in Colombia. As long as I've been here since 2002, man, there was one mass shooting that happened, and that was in 2003. I haven't heard of anything like that happening since then.
Wow.
But in the United States, man, every single day that there's something that happens, man.
That is so true, and I think everybody's at a heightened sense of alert and awareness right now. Some of it, honestly, and obviously, I don't get into the politics, but I will say it seems that everybody is just tense for what's going to happen next, what's going to happen
Yeah.
with war, what's going to happen with property taxes, with the deficit, with the national debt, what's going to happen with the stock market. Everybody seems to be tense right now. And if I'm going to be perfectly honest, Jason, sometimes I get like that. I get a little tense, and I have to realize that's why it's so good to come to Colombia, is because I see people that might not be making as much money as I am, but they're relaxed, muy tranquilo.
Yeah.
And that's that attitude that I want to adopt is, I always want to be a grinder and a hustler, but also know how to relax because your mental health is the most important thing. You can't function. When you get depressed, you feel like you lift weights all day, like you
Right.
work all day because it takes a toll on your physical. So, ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen, it is very important that you take a trip to Colombia to get off the grid, see other people and how they deal with life. Colombians have hard lives. A lot of Colombians are not making the money they want to or need to, but they find a way to attain happiness, which is the most important thing. Jason, you might recall when I interviewed Henry Rios. And I said, what's the most important thing to Caleños? I said, is it, I asked him, is it money? Is it politics? Is it religion? Is it family? And he said none of those things were the most important thing. The most important thing was happiness.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I can identify with that too. I spent some time in Cali. I was there for about 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And the happiest people in the world, man.
Well, let's touch on that. You spent 6 months in Cali. What was the most significant thing and the most let me ask that question a different way. What was something that caught your attention about the Caleños and just the Cali culture right off the bat when you got here?
Well, in my particular case, I was staying at an Airbnb. So the owner of the Airbnb, he took me in immediately, introduced me to his girlfriend, his fiance, and all the rest of his family. I mean, does that happen with an Airbnb owner? I don't think so.
Yeah.
So that was the thing that really grabbed my attention from the very beginning, was the friendliness of people. And the thing about Colombia too, man, is that in every region of Colombia, there's a different kind of personality, it seems, that's common amongst all the people that live in that particular area. Mm-hmm. For instance, in Cali, people are very, very friendly. They don't necessarily come up to you and start a conversation. Mm-hmm. I think that's more on the coast here.
Yeah.
Where I'm at in Santa Marta, Barranquilla, Cartagena. Mm-hmm. But also in Medellin, people are very friendly as well.
Yes.
And the thing about, the language and the expressions that people use too, I think that's one of the reasons why guys are so attracted to Medellin, man. People say that, the way that the ladies talk to you, all they got to do is say something.
Yeah.
It sounds so romantic and inviting that you want to spend time with this person, even though you don't know them. Yeah. So, the guys, they know nothing about this woman and they're drawn in immediately. And that's what opens the door to these terrible things that we've been seeing happen to these guys.
So true.
Yeah.
You're
yeah.
Exactly
So
right. That Paisa accent is.
Yeah.
I mean, we joke all the time, myself and you, about the fact that, actually, we were joking last night about the fact that, I tell you, anybody that's an atheist, I don't see how they're an atheist when you can see Colombian women, the beauty of Colombian women. There has to be a God. There's a God somewhere.
Absolutely.
So, and we say that, and we joke with all respect that, I don't touch on too much on my platform, but to me, I will clearly say it that, to me, Colombian women are the most beautiful women in the world. And I've been to a lot of countries. I've seen a lot of beautiful women. Colombian women are very beautiful, inside and out.
Yeah.
So, but I did want to segue into dating culture. Dating culture in America versus dating culture in Colombia. You've been able to participate in both, Jason, and participate and had a long run in both. What I mean by is, what age did you actually move to Colombia?
Okay, so I came here at the end of 2002.
And you were how old at the time?
I was 30 at the time.
You were 30. So obviously you have been dating, a lot in America, or you've had experiences with dating American women.
Sure.
And obviously you've had a lot of experience with dating Colombian women. My question to you is, let's just start with the American women, not pitting. This question is not pitting one over the other or anything like that. There's other podcasts that could do that. But
sure.
In regards to the experiences, what were the different experiences in dating one culture versus the other?
Okay, I'm going to say this about my experience in Dallas when I was living there before I came here to Colombia. So I spent 2.5 years in the Metroplex, right? So Plano, Dallas, Addison, And then I had gotten my last position was with Gold's Gym out in Arlington. Mm-hmm. And so I was really, really interested in being involved in the Latin culture because, you know, my thing was salsa dancing. Yeah. Of course, I couldn't go to any African American clubs and salsa dance, right? Yeah. So I was frequenting all of the Latin clubs in Dallas. Mm-hmm. And so I would go, man, I was trying to learn how to salsa dance. So I would go on Wednesday night, Friday, and Saturday. This was like over the span of maybe like 3 months while I was trying to just get the basic step. Bro, I want to tell you that basic step took me a month and a half just to get that. And then after that, it got much easier, and you can begin to, you know, create your own style when you're dancing. But just getting over that hump, it was challenging without taking a class or anything like that. Mm-hmm. And so one of the things that I noticed, though, between the two different cultures is that if you go to a black club, I don't know if this still exists. You can answer this, right? If you go to a black club, you see the women on one side of the club. At least that's what I saw. You see the women on one side of the club and all the men standing on the wall on the other side. Nobody's interacting with each other. Right. And okay, maybe if you ask a girl to dance or you start a conversation or something, she might look at you crazy. She might not even give you the time of day. Yeah. In the Latin club, though, it's a completely different scenario, man. I'll never forget, one of my friends took me out to a club that I hadn't been to yet. And when he gets there, you know, it's kind of like their family. They see each other on a regular basis. He introduced me to several women that were friends of his. Mm-hmm. And he would just walk up to them, kiss them on the cheek, yeah, and introduce them to me. I was like, wow, you can do that? And so, you know, the ladies would kiss me on the cheek, and I would be like, wow, this does not happen in the black club. If you kiss that lady on the cheek, you know, you might run into some problems.
You probably,
you know what I'm saying? yeah, like who is this kissing me? Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that was a huge difference that I saw.
Well, and those are interesting observations. And by the way, it's for the most part, I don't go out a lot in America into the clubs, but the few times I do, it's basically the exact same way. It's when it was years ago when you made those observations about the black clubs in America, about the same, basically. Now there's the newer generation. They are doing this line dancing. I don't know if you've seen that in some of the clubs in Atlanta and Houston. They're doing actually line dancing, which is interesting. But it's not dancing with each other. It's literally you might have 5 women in the line and then one guy at the end, and it's like a line dance, almost like a country music line dance.
Okay.
So, but you definitely will not see what you see in Colombia. That is very traditional. The guy walks up to the young lady, extends his hand, and they start dancing. And it's funny we're talking about this, Jason, because I went out. I'm in Cali right now, and I went out last night to La Topa Tolondra.
Okay, my favorite spot.
My favorite spot too, exactly. And it was so interesting because I was just people watching. And I saw a group of ladies at their table, and literally they danced 6 songs straight.
Yeah.
One would leave and go dance, and then the other one would leave and go dance. And it's like, wow, like this does not happen in the United States.
No.
It is interesting because it is definitely a very romantic, respectable dance culture and respectable culture in general. In that regard.
Sure. Yeah, another thing that's interesting to me, man, is that in a Latin club, you don't necessarily have to be intimidated by walking up to a table full of women. I mean, there could be like 10 women at this table.
Right.
And you can ask either one of them to dance, and they'll accept your request.
That's right.
And what happens is you dance with that one.
Yeah.
You can go back to the table, dance with their friends. So,
yeah, it doesn't typically happen in America like that, does it? Typically, it doesn't
No.
work that way in America, where you just walk up to that table of ladies and then ask one to dance, and if she danced with you, then go ask another one after the next song.
Right.
It's different.
Yeah, it's totally different, man. Totally different. And the thing about that too, I think you mentioned this on part one, man, is that if you extend your hand to a lady to dance, 9 times out of 10, she would never refuse to dance with you.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You're
In
exactly
the
right.
States, yeah. In the States, again, it's a completely different scenario.
Yeah.
You're basically tossing a coin whether or not she even wants to be bothered or not.
Yeah. It's just being honest. That part can be discouraging for a guy that just wants to dance. Obviously, there are a lot of guys that will keep harassing the woman, the young lady. But a guy like yourself that just wanted to dance, years ago, that's what you want to do. You want to dance. How can you improve your salsa dancing without a dance partner?
Right.
And so I would definitely say the guys that are listening that like to dance or want to learn how to salsa dance, come to Colombia in a respectable manner. And most likely, you could be dancing all night. You could find dance partners throughout the night. And definitely here in Cali. Cali is the salsa capital of the world. So you could be dancing all night until the clubs end at 3 o'clock in the morning, literally. So,
yeah. And you know what, man? When it comes to meeting people here in Colombia, I can't think of one of the best ways to meet people is the dancing.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, there are many different dances here in Colombia. Now, Cali is known for salsa. Almost every club or discotheque or bar is going to play salsa music. People dance on the streets on Friday nights in Cali, but there are other dances. There's different dances in Barranquilla, in Santa Marta. I don't know all of them, but I know that there is dozens and probably hundreds of different dances. One that comes to my mind, Jason, I can't remember the actual name of it, is when the ladies have the long flower, like I call them flower dresses. They're not flower dresses, but the long dresses, and they're kind of going this circular pattern. That's another dance that is very interesting, So what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, is we're talking about the fact that there's a lot of things to do in Colombia. There's a lot of things that you can get outside your comfort zone and learn. And if your goal is to find a significant other, then you'll have the opportunity to do that if you embrace the culture. Also, we just so happen to have a CEO here with a dating platform and organization. We talked about this last week, and we're going to continue to talk about this because there's a lot of people, specifically a lot of men, that really want to find a good Colombian lady.
Right.
And they don't know how to do it. The only way that they're learning how to do it is all the wrong ways on YouTube, and all these so-called social media influencers are telling them to do all the wrong things. And that's why a lot of them are getting drugged and worse. So,
absolutely, yeah.
Jason, just give the audience, and whether it's men or women, give the audience just more insight on why it is so important to join SPIRITLINC.
Well, the safety of our community, for one thing. And when it comes to these dating apps, which, we kind of talked about on the previous episode, Tinder, Bumble, Colombian Cupid, you can name whatever platform you want to name. There is no screening process.
Yeah.
And so that's a huge separator between us and the rest of the platforms that are out there. Mm-hmm. They don't care if you've been convicted of a crime. There's no investigation into this person's life, who they are, what they do. Is it even that person that's in the picture?
Yeah.
I mean, you could, make a connection with a girl on one of these apps and find out that you get to a location and it's not even who you were talking to. It's a completely different person.
Right.
So just the safety issue, I think, is the biggest thing that people have a concern about. And when you're talking about the guys that you call them passport brothers, they get to Medellin, they met somebody on Tinder, they go to a club, they meet this person, and it could be the same person. They're beautiful, and you take them back to your Airbnb or your hotel, wherever it is that you're staying. And even if you do have that person screened at the front desk, ask for their ID, they have a fake ID.
Right.
And worst case scenario, they come with another friend of theirs. You take them both to your room, and that's when the drugging happens. That's when, everything, you wake up the next day, if you wake up, because there's been several deaths from those kinds of situations.
Right.
You wake up the next day, your computer's gone, your wallet's gone. You check your account, all your money in your account is gone. I mean, the worst case that we heard a couple of weeks ago, a guy lost $15,000
Right.
in one night. Now one night, ladies and gentlemen, he lost that amount of money. Now, when you look at that kind of risk that you're putting yourself into, losing that kind of money, all of your personal belongings, I mean, is it really worth putting your life in jeopardy in those kinds of situations? Or join a safe community like SPIRITLINC, right, where we do vet these people. We have a one-on-one video conference with everybody that joins our community. So we do take that extra step to make sure that that's the person that you're going to be meeting in person. Number one. Absolutely. Number two, if you have a match with a person that you meet at one of our online or in-person events, we do have a coaching, actually an elite set of coaches, not only dating coaches, but business coaches, health coaches, decision-making coaches. Why? We want to make sure that you have success, not only in your relationships, but in every other area of your life. Mm-hmm. And like I mentioned before, a relationship is a journey. It's not going to happen overnight. You're not going to know this person immediately after you know them or meet them at one of our events. Mm-hmm. It's going to take time to get to know that person, and to have guidance from a coach is one of the best things that you can do. So coaching is a huge part of our community. And these are, retired NFL players that we have as coaches. Dating coaches that have been in the business, functioning as a coach for more than 20 plus years. Mm. So these are experienced people that have a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience, and they're also in long-term relationships themselves, successful marriages. So, we have a lot that we can offer you, not just as a dating platform or a place where you can take part in events, but which is important. But we have a community that you can belong to, where you can get some expert guidance from people that have done the thing that you want to do in life.
Absolutely. I consider that a no-brainer from safety standpoint, from the fact that I don't have to worry about losing $15,000 in one night, from a standpoint of not just throwing people to a relationship, but also coaching them. Coaching is everything. Coaching is so important, because I could even relate to when I was a cage fighter, when I was a mixed martial arts fighter. There's no way I would take a fight without a coach, because a coach can see things and hear things that you can't hear when you're in the midst of a situation. So if I'm dating, especially somebody from a different culture, I need the coach to tell me, well, look, she thinks this way because this is a cultural thing, Jeremy. And you need to look at it like this. You're in the
Right.
situation, you might not understand why she's reacting a certain way. And
Mm.
obviously, you don't speak fluent Spanish. So maybe she said something, you took it the wrong way. It
Mm.
is so important to have that coach that could coach you through those difficult conversations, ladies and gentlemen. And
Yes.
that is the significance of Spirit Link. Is there's a lot of dating platforms out there, probably hundreds of them, Jason. But
Yep.
what a lot of platforms do is, yeah, you might find a beautiful young lady, somebody that is compatible with yourself, but then again, you're kind of on your own. You're kind of stuck out there on the island. And again,
Right.
it is very challenging. And I think, Jason, you probably could talk to this more than I can. I've had some dating experiences with cultures outside of American culture, but you're
Uh-huh.
dating somebody of a different culture from a different country that lives in a different country that is not familiar with your culture. It is automatically going to be fun, but challenging. Very.
Yes.
And this is why you need a platform like Spirit Link that people that have been where you are can coach you and guide you through these very difficult situations that, again, you might not just understand the culture. But what do you can you just shed some light on that, Jason, in regards to how difficult is it
Hmm.
to adjust in a relationship to a different culture?
Wow. Speaking about this, man, there was a post that a good friend of mine that I just met, and he has a phenomenal platform on Instagram, man, that he's building. Rob Ellington, shout out to Rob. He made a wonderful post for us at Spirit Link yesterday
Yes.
on Instagram, which I shared everywhere. I mean,
Hmm.
that post is everywhere. He's in Medellin,
Hmm.
and he's heavily involved with helping bring these women that are robbing and, in the worst case, killing these gentlemen that are coming to Medellin to meet women. He's in the process of bringing these women to justice,
Hmm.
which I highly commend. I don't see anybody else out there doing that in Medellin. Uh, to my knowledge, he's the only person, which takes a tremendous amount of courage.
Yes.
But he's a believer like me. He believes in Jesus, and that's why he's covered. And I told him all about Spirit Link. He said, "Jason, I believe in what you're doing. I think it's great." And so that's why he did that video for us. And man, I thank him again for doing that. It's a wonderful start for us when we want to attract the right kinds of people to our community, people that are genuinely interested in a long-term relationship / marriage.
Hmm.
But getting back to the cultural differences, though, a lot of the gentlemen that go to Medellin, or it could be any place else here in Colombia, they don't know Spanish. And I gotta say the same thing. When I came here to Colombia back in 2002, I had a basic level of Spanish, like the kind that you learn in school and university, which is nothing to prepare you for a real world conversation with somebody, especially here in Colombia. There's a completely different set of vocabulary words, expressions that you don't learn in a textbook in school. So when you get here, you could be in Medellin, which is a completely different culture experience from Bogota or any place else.
Hmm.
And then when you get there, you don't know Spanish. They could be speaking Spanish, and maybe you can pick out some words here and there. But when it comes to them getting robbed, you could be at a bar and you hear that person saying in Spanish, "Oh, we're gonna, take this person back to their place, rob them, kill them, take all their stuff," and you have no idea what they're talking about. So my suggestion is, first of all, before you get here to Colombia, take a Spanish class.
Hmm.
From somebody that actually lives here in Colombia and can teach you expressions
Hmm.
and basic vocabulary words that you're going to need for a basic conversation in Spanish once you get here. I think that's the best thing that you can do. Now, at SpiritLink, what we will do is if you sign up for one of our events, or it could be a retreat, or let's say that you sign up for our matchmaking service, a Spanish class will be part of your trip once you come here. I'm not going to put anybody out there, cold without knowing something about the language, man. I know how hard. Yeah, I know how hard that is, man. I have actually lived and experienced that. And somebody made a comment on that post that I mentioned yesterday. Learn Spanish. And I said, yeah, you're absolutely right, man. I mean, trying to start a relationship and develop that relationship, not knowing how to express yourself when it comes to things that could be difficult that you need to express feeling wise to your girlfriend or your boyfriend, either way. Man, that's a difficult thing. And for me, that was one of the hardest things that I had to learn, how to express my feelings, especially in an argument. God forbid. Yeah.
This is not going to work. I'm mad at you right now.
No, man. I mean, you listen. You can get Chat GPT, Google Translate, whatever translation program you want. Again, when it comes to Colombian Spanish, you're not going to see the same vocabulary. If she says something to you, especially in an argument, and you need to defend your position or something,
right,
dude, it's one of the hardest things in the world.
Yeah,
I don't know how you do that personally.
Yeah, like I said, in my little dating experiences in Colombia, I learned that real quick. That you really might think that she's saying things one way. Sometimes there's more than. Sometimes, obviously, whereas a man or woman, typically I have to say with women, they're saying something to see how you would react to it because they really are trying to get to something else. And so if you react a certain way, then it brings up something else that that was really the main part of the conversation,
Right. Right.
And I had to learn all those things. And you're right. You can't. You think you can get on the translator on Google Translate,
no,
and ChatGPT, and you can be like, well, just this is what I mean, and it's still not effective. And it's just a crutch, guys. It really is. It's a crutch that at some point you can't stay on the training wheels all the time. At some point, you got to take those training wheels off, and you got to learn to ride that bike.
Yeah. I mean, if you're really, really serious about coming here to Colombia and having a long-term relationship with somebody that you met, take the time to learn something about the culture before you get here. Right. Something about the language before you get here, because once you're immersed, I mean, it can be overwhelming, for you in the very beginning. So, to avoid that from happening, take the steps on your own to do that before you get here. Of course, I'm going to do my due diligence to help you as much as I possibly can. Mm-hmm. But I think, to prepare yourself for that experience is a very, very wise thing to do.
I agree. And also, ladies and gentlemen, you should definitely know, guys in particular, you have to know this. And that is, family is very important out here. So if one of the things you'll find out in dating, and Jason, you can back me on this one, is a lot of women spend a lot of time with their family. So if you're not a family-oriented guy, it's going to be very hard for you to maintain a relationship with a Colombiana. Very typically very close to their families. Mom, dad, sisters, brother, cousins, very close. So you might be dragged to several different family functions. If you're not willing to do that, it's going to be very difficult. Do you have anything to add to that?
Yes, I do. Okay, so when I first got here to Colombia, man, I was in Bogota for 16 years, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And the first 2.5 years that I was married to the lady that I met in Atlanta, she was actually from Bogota. So we got married, and when you're on your honeymoon and whatnot, you want some alone time with your wife, obviously, right?
Yeah.
And so I knew nothing about the culture or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And just one day out of the blue, it had to be like 9 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday, and there's they rang the doorbell. And my wife went to answer it, and it's all the family showed up at the house. So, she had like 2, 3 uncles, all the aunts, cousins, and whatnot. They showed up at the house. I'm in my boxer shorts. So I had to, run and, get changed and whatnot. Right. And I came out to greet the family. And one of the uncles was like, yeah, Jason grabbed the first thing he could find. I was not prepared for that situation. So, you got to have an open mind. You got to be prepared for those kinds of things to take place. And yes, you will be invited to every family function, every friend function as well. And listen, people get offended if you turn down that invitation. So you got to accept, you got to go, because it can hurt that family member's feelings or that friend's feelings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and those could be problems that could trickle into your relationship. You might not even know. It might have hurt the grandmother's feelings that you went there, and you start having problems, and you have less communication because they took that to heart. Your significant other took that to heart. These are the things.
Right.
Is the reason why, ladies and gentlemen, you need to join SPIRITLINC, because you get the firsthand knowledge of these type of things that are going to help you be successful in a relationship, specifically in a different culture such as Colombia, because there's a lot of nuances. And honestly, Jason, I might need some of your coaching, because there's a lot of things I still don't understand about Colombian culture, and not just the culture, the dating culture, because I call that a different culture. I put it in a slightly different class because it is different. It's good to know. Okay, we talk about Cali culture, right? We talk about the food, we talk about the diversity, we talk about the biodiversity, all of the plants and vegetation and the dancing. But then there's dating a Kalinga. It's completely different ballgame.
Yes, sir.
And so,
yes, sir.
Things you need to know, guys, or you could be in those popcorn, I call them popcorn relationships, where you're dating them for 3 weeks, and then you're like, well, it didn't work out, and you don't really understand why it didn't work out.
Yeah,
important.
Absolutely, man. So maybe we need to do a part 3 just about that, because that's a whole different show.
Absolutely. We have about 7 minutes. I definitely want to do a part 3 and discuss the nuances. I want to discuss some of the nuances about the dating culture in Colombia more and get really more in depth. And I also want people to join SPIRITLINC so they can get the first one-on-one coaching and training. It's good to listen to the podcast. It's even better to get the one-on-one coaching. Now, I did want to ask you, Jason, because I know your platform is not just the dating app. Dating is a big aspect, but also fitness is a big aspect of your platform as well.
Yes.
Why is fitness so important to you?
Well, fitness has always been a part of my life, man, ever since I was a kid. And, I'll never forget, when I was maybe like 2-3 years old, when we first got to Atlanta, my mother had joined a all women's health club. And so there was a nursery inside of that health club. And so she would take me right along with her to the gym. That was my first exposure to a gym. So I've been around fitness my entire life. So, it's kind of hard to grow up being involved in fitness and not dedicate some part of your life to that. And, beyond the obvious health benefits of being fit, getting involved in some kind of regular exercise for your relationship, there's benefits to it as well. I mean, you have a lot more energy to spend with that person. You're in a better mood at the end of the day. And, when it comes to intimacy, there's benefits to that too.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. That's true. And that's such a good point, by the way. It's going to give you confidence too. Like I see this a lot in American culture with a lot of guys, say around our age, 40s, 50s. They kind of maybe they're in a bad relationship and they just let themselves go. And when they let themselves go and get the beer belly and the love handles, then what happens? Confidence decreases. And when confidence decreases, it's hard to be attractable to the opposite sex. It's really hard.
Yeah.
So fitness is really important. It's really something that I like what you're doing. You're stressing that. And I try to stress it as well as when you get yourself in shape, your confidence is going to exponentially increase. And when your confidence increases and you can wear and fit your shirts better and your pants better, obviously you're going to be attractable to the opposite sex. And that's what
for sure
it's all about. If you look at even in the animal kingdom, you look at the lion, he's strong, he's muscular, he's proud, and he's attractable. And guys, it's all about keeping yourself in shape to keep your confidence. And ladies, it's the same way with the ladies as well. That a lady could put on some weight, some pounds, and her self-esteem begins to decrease, and it really affects her mental state. But when she gets in shape and she can wear that nice sundress and those nice heels, it really does something for your confidence. And confidence is a huge factor, as we know, in relationships. It's huge.
Yeah, you know what? As a coach too, man, I can offer a lot from my own personal experience of, having spent years in the fitness industry and just, participating in sports, basketball, and other things that I enjoyed doing. And you get married, you get comfortable, you have kids. First thing that goes, man, is your stomach. And what really, really shook me, man, like within the past 2-3 years or something, my son and I were having a conversation, and we had went and gone and played basketball after the game, and I was huffing and puffing the whole time and embarrassed, man, about my health and fitness. And my son said, Dad, if you look down and you can't see your Johnson, it's time to make some changes.
It's time.
So listen, man. I've been in that situation, and I'm telling you, you don't want to let yourself go. You don't want to use your marriage and kids as an excuse, man, to not be sexy. Come on now. When you met your wife, you were in good shape. Exactly. So, don't use your relationship as an excuse. Keep your fitness level, because you want to continue being attractive to your wife. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes,
that's
absolutely.
a good point. I'm glad you said that.
Well, and I want to. We're almost running out of time. I want to touch on this in another episode more, but I will say that, guys, you have to understand, and if we're calling out some guys that might be a little overweight, then good. That's exactly the point here. The point is to really call yourself out, to challenge yourself. Because if you really think about it, if we're really being honest, ladies and gentlemen, if you look at yourself in the mirror and you don't like what you see, what makes you think you're going to go to Colombia in the culture where everybody works out, everybody walks, everybody dances, almost everybody is in good shape? What makes you think you're going to be attractable to a Colombiana or Colombiana?
That's a good point. Yeah.
And if she's attracted to you, why is she attracted to you? And you know you're overweight. You know that you could lose a few pounds or a lot of pounds. You have to add, we have to be real and put ourselves under the microscope and say, okay, if I know that I'm 15 pounds overweight and I look disgusting myself, how do I go to a fitness-based culture and their women are going to look at me and be like, oh, yeah, I want that chunky one right there from America. Let's be honest, guys. Let's get in shape. Guys, ladies, let's get in shape. Cali Culture Podcast is all about promoting positive culture, but positive health as well. Because it's going to be very hard for Jason, even in all his experience, and it's a great platform, if you're significantly overweight, to be able to do something about that. Jason can have the best matches on his platform, but he's going to need your help too to be able to ensure that your health is important, because health is wealth. And I'll leave it at that.
Thank you, brother.
Absolutely. We ran out of time, unfortunately. Again, it's always a pleasure, Jason, to have these conversations with you. We always have enlightening conversations that I know that the listeners are going to be able to glean a lot from what we're talking about. I always say, it's really important to continue to put positive content out there. And I appreciate your help in making this podcast happen, because it's certainly, again, I never would have thought that I would be in this situation to be able to have the honor to do this. So it's much appreciated, and we have a lot more work to do, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Any final words to close out that?
Well, I just want to tell people that you can go to our website, SPIRITLINC.com. You'll see a capture form that's asking for your email address, your name. Just fill that in. We'll get back to you. We'll set up a consultation, and we'll take it from there.
Absolutely. And guys and ladies, set up the consultation. It's not going to cost you any skin or any hair loss. Not that I have here. It's not going to cost you anything. So set up the consultation and see if this is a good fit for you, and actually vice versa, if you're a good fit for SPIRITLINC. And like I said, I can't wait to see more of what you're doing and the progress with SPIRITLINC, and it's just going to be a great platform. Well, everyone, that's our show. And as I always say, embrace the culture, learn about the culture, and obviously like the culture, respect the culture. We'll be back next week, same time. Actually, we'll be back at the regular time at 2 p.m. Next week, and we will have a very interesting guest. I won't say his name, but very interesting guest next week to join the show, and it's going to be a good one. So, ladies and gentlemen, continue to keep following Cali Culture Podcast. Follow me on my Instagram at Cali Culture, Cali Colombian Culture.com for all the great events we're doing. Until then, have a wonderful day. Remember, Cali is Cali. See you the next time. Hasta luego.
Take care. Hasta luego.
Thank you for watching the Cali Culture Podcast with Jeremy Preston. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next week for our next episode.